Hi, welcome to another episode of Beyond Chronic Disease. My name is Wendy. Hello, how are you? This week we are talking about baby steps. Baby steps are tiny little steps that you take to improve your life in whatever area that you are wanting to improve it. And if you don't want to improve it, don't listen to this podcast because it's not for you. Okay, so why do we call them baby steps? Well, babies, they take tiny little steps because they've got tiny little legs. So this is what we do to improve our lives, because realistically, if you try and do a big step all at once, you're setting yourself up to fail big time. Okay, so my journey with being diagnosed with Crohn's years ago, it took a long time for me to get well in my body fully. So it was all about being diagnosed, being gobsmacked and shocked and whatever, and then acceptance and then working at, okay, what can I do now? So, and it wasn't easy going, in the sense that I had lots of commitments with the kids. The kids were unwell. Things weren't really going well in general. So I had lots to deal with all at once. And anyways, then different health issues came up for me along the way as well, which I just remembered that too. So then it was a matter of working on what to do. Yeah, so it took a little while. And so if you've been listening to me for the past few weeks, basically I have changed my principles of well-being, although the principles of well-being that are still on here, I stand by them. But for me, being more what really has been really authentic, and what really has got me here to where I am today, is what the last, I just had a look at my notes, but it's not from the stress, it's from the radical self-responsibility, whole foods, meditation, know your body, and mindset. Those five podcasts are what really were instrumental in getting me from the state of disease to a state of well-being. Okay. So if you haven't got my book, Whole Foods, the Facts, that's what my book is all about. My journey of my diagnosis to then getting to my 50th birthday, I guess. Now, many years ago, I got sick many years ago, but I really didn't have a very positive outlook in life in general. It was quite negative. Last week I did a podcast about positive thinking, which I debunked the whole positive thinking thing, because it just really irks me. It's very, very misunderstood, as in lots of things, I guess, because everyone thinks differently, perceives things differently, learns things differently, understands things differently. Your different nationalities have different meanings for things, and that's what happens in our general life. We take on board stuff that we don't really need to, and the positive thinking is just one of those things that is just very, very misunderstood. So if you missed that podcast, go back and listen to my take on that. And anyway, this week we're talking about baby steps. So for anything, like you're probably aware of baby steps anyway. Like if you make New Year's resolutions, which I don't, because I always failed at them. Let's face it, a couple of days in, and it was always, years and years ago, it was always the smoking. I'm going to give up smoking on New Year's Day. Yeah, that lasted for a whole day, so I think when we do things the best way that I've found to do things is to take baby steps. In my book, I have the phrase stepping stones. I guess lots of people use that. I wasn't aware of that until after I wrote it, and then I saw it everywhere, which is what happens too. You see a black car you've never seen before, and then you see 20 black cars all on the same day. This is how our mind works. Sometimes what you focus on is what you get, you see. So the baby steps is what created wellness for me, because to start with, it's like, well, what can I do here? And then I start doing little bits and pieces, and then I'm learning more, and then I'm regressing, and then I get, you get tired, and then you go back to here, and then this happens and that happens and so forth. But then you just progress that little bit more, and then eventually you get to, you get to a state of wellness, or you get to wherever you want to get to. It's not just all about having a chronic disease, although this is called Beyond Chronic Disease, this podcast, but it's not all about that. Sometimes it's just wanting to go from A to B, and the best way possible. So it's all about baby steps. It's like you can't create a six-figure bank account in one day, as much as what they talk about as much as what they tell you on Facebook. It's just BS. It doesn't happen like that. It's baby steps. So you have to implement strategies day by day, week by week, however you want to do it, to create what you want in your life. Baby steps. That's all, really. If you're looking at the big picture and you're trying to get from A to Z all in 5 minutes, what it's going to do is you're not going to get there, and B, it's going to create a defeatist mindset, I guess, and also an unworthy mind, like, I can never do this, I'm always suck at doing stuff like this, it'll never happen. All of that, it can impact on your mind. And I did a podcast about that a few weeks ago, mindset. So it can impact on your mind, and most of what you think in that situation is not true. Okay, little snippets maybe, but not entirely true, because you're trying to get from A to Z all in 5 minutes. Well, like I just said, it's not going to happen. So I have said, previously as well, when, you want to change the way you eat, change your drinking habits, or any habit at all, do baby steps. Okay. So the way, if you want to increase your intake of whole foods, which I am an advocate of for nutrition in your cells of your body, creates wellness, not just in your body, but mind and clarity. And whole foods are amazing, and they're fulfilling. And I'm doing a recipe every week for the whole year for whole foods that I'm creating. Yum, yum, yum. So I think if you're going to open your pantry and throw everything out and then try and do it from there, it's not going to work, because it's overwhelming. So we get there's a lot of overwhelming in our society. It's basically similar. It's in the similar bracket to anxiety, overwhelmed. And, if it gets really, really bad, you can get depression, all of these things that don't create wellness in your body. And they just set you up to fail. If you've got that mindset that you can just get back up and do it again, or just do it differently, that's awesome, because that's where we want to get to ultimately, where, somebody can knock you down and you go, well, I don't really care what you say or do or whatever. I know who I am, where I'm at, and I'm just going to get back up and do it from this angle instead. So with the baby steps with creating wellness, okay, so for me it was just that little next step that I could take. So when I got onto somebody that was creating whole food recipes, so then I started, going to her workshops and implementing them into my life, and oh my God, it was just amazing, so, and it just felt so good. And I wasn't thinking about, oh, is this making me better, or is this really, like, am I, not following the doctor's advice? Am I going to get sicker? Or, it wasn't anything like that. It was just and it wasn't positive thinking either. It was just the next step, that little baby step that I can take to make me feel better. It's all about feeling better in yourself, feeling like your body feeling better. And that's how I think of everything now. What makes my body feel better? What makes it feel, and weight. I'm going to do one about weight. It's, what makes your body feel better, and how you look at what your body's doing for you is how you can create the wellness in your body. So baby steps, if you've just been diagnosed with a chronic disease or just something that is, maybe short term, what can create wellness in your body, and it's got to be from what gels with you. It might be, you've just gotten over an operation, so you might just need to go home and sleep. Fantastic. If that's what helps you get better in your body, well, then you do that. I don't think drinking copious amounts of alcohol will ever create wellness in your body. But if having a sneaky little drink makes you feel better in the moment, then do that. I'd be a fantastic doctor, wouldn't I? So it's all about, and I've spoken about this too, it's not about forming that bad habit or getting, having one alcoholic drink and, oh, that feels good, then having another. It's not about that. It's not chastising yourself for that's what you feel like in the moment. Okay. And it's, we can get into comfort food and all that. I mean, that's not the point either. If you're already have got a medical problem and you're using food as comfort, well, that's not a good sign of, regressing realistically, or sorry, not regressing, having, just feeling good about eating that, and then, going on from there. Because if that's your typical habit, well, we're trying to kick that habit. So when I'm talking about baby steps, when you're doing, so much to create wellness in your body, and then like what I've said about me not wanting to drink alcohol this year, and if I'm going, I'm going to Japan and go to Sapporo, if I feel like having a beer, I'll have a beer. But if you have disease in your body, you really, in my mind, the cleaner the diet, which the cleaner means whole foods, no refined, no processed, no alcohol, none of that, because it's not going to create wellness in your body. So baby steps, just, an example for baby steps, if you want to increase your whole foods, I sort of mentioned it in one of my other podcasts, the whole food podcast, you just increase it gently. You don't like clean out the whole pantry and then go and buy whole foods and stock the fridge with just whole foods. There is pantry items like spices and things like that you can use. to enhance the flavor of your foods. And also they don't just enhance the flavor, but spices add certain nutrient benefits to your body. So if you want to create changes, transform your life, your body, anything in this year, I suggest you do baby steps. And I'll use the word regress, if you eat that chocolate bar that you said that you weren't going to, or that it's not making you feel good, and you just felt like that in the moment, and you've just eaten it, and then that's enough, you don't need any more, then go for it. Don't chastise yourself. I feel like I'm giving you excuses to be naughty, but it's not that at all. It's your whole body experience, your whole life experience is mind as well as the impact certain foods and the environment have on your body. So baby steps, okay, put that into your little mind about baby steps and the impact it can have overall on your life for 2024. And I will see you next week for another podcast. I'm not sure what it will be yet, but I'll think of something. Okay, bye.